What's up guys, Duarte here with another Marvel Strike Force video, and today we are going to take a look at the 25 teams that I use for Blitz to win on 8.3 using all the new characters and without investing on trashy characters. But before that, I want to say thanks to everyone who has subscribed lately and become a member of my YouTube channel and also joined my Discord. You'll find the list for all these Blitz teams there. And if you're new to my channel, I hope you consider subscribing. And if you find this video helpful and the teams that I recommend successful for you, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. And before I start, I want to mention that all these teams have ISO weight into consideration and that I will be showcasing all these teams on Saturday, 3 of October on my live stream, so you can have an idea of all the ISO weights that I use on these teams and also the rotations that I use and so on. Okay, so with all that said, we are on msf.gg like always, one of the best websites in case you want to organize your roster, and now they updated the website, so now whenever you organize your roster you can also include the T4s, the ISO weight that you are using and also the spec that you are using on ISO weight. So let's get started, and this is in no specific order, so the teams will vary in power. So we are going to take a look first at the characters that I'm not using, and like I said, this list is supposed to use the best characters and invest the least amount possible on trashy characters or characters that I consider that they have very low value in the current meta of the game. So as you can see, we have a few AIM characters, we have Black Panther, Bullseye, we have most of the AND characters, we have Hydra, Grenadier, we have some of the mercenaries. Unfortunately, Rescue is also here, Nobu. We have all the Ravagers, some of the shield characters. Unfortunately, we also have Okoi here, and I have 6 red stars on her, so it's not because she doesn't have the red stars. Winter Soldier and also Wasp. I don't think they fit in any of the teams I suggest, and I think investing in any of these characters is a waste of resources, so I definitely recommend for you to don't do it. Okay, so with all that said, let's start with the teams that we are going to use. So let's cancel these. And the first team that we use is the Symbiotes, and I'm going to briefly mention in terms of positioning and so on, but I'm going to skip the positioning for the teams that we mentioned on the previous months. So now we have the Symbiotes, we have 2 more Symbiotes. Usually we would have Drax here and then Symbiote Spider-Man because he can dodge. Then we have Green Goblin, and if you don't have Anti-Venom, I still recommend that you use Drax here and use Scream here so she stays as far away as possible from the tank, because while Scream she has insane amount of damage, she has very low HP, so you don't want her to die, and that's why you want to leave her in a corner so there is the least amount of chance for her to take splash damage. But once again, if you have Drax, make sure she stays here, and Symbiote Spider-Man here. Anti-Venom, he has self-healing, he has healing abilities, he has all kinds of shenanigans, so he can stay wherever possible. And Venom, we also don't want him to be attacked, so we want him to stay in the corner like Scream so he can give us the defense up faster. So that's the symbiotes for you with the Anti-Venom and with Scream. Okay, so now we have Black Order, and I changed just a little bit the Black Order compared to the team I suggested last month, and it was because I'm using this team often enough against Marauders that it's important to don't have Thanos here, to have instead Ebony Maw, because whenever Strife does his ultimate that applies ability block, if it goes on Thanos, he'll get ability blocked because he will no longer have immunity, because his turns go quite fast. But in case of Ebony Maw, because he's a little bit slower than Empowered Thanos, then the ability block doesn't make any effect. And that's why I changed the position from Thanos and from Ebony Maw, but the rest of the team is pretty much the same, and it's a great team as always. As Guardians, they are exactly the same. There is an argument that you can change them a little bit to counter the symbiotes, but it's only 5% improvement, so it's not a huge deal. So that's pretty much it. I'm still using the same setup I used last month. X-Force right now with the ISO weight, it's quite amazing, and before I didn't like this team at all, but with ISO8 this team is quite good, so make sure you stay tuned for tomorrow's live stream, once again 3rd of October, Saturday, where I'll be showcasing all these teams with different ISO8s that I think work great with them. So moving on, power armor, nothing new about them. Then we have the shield team. The shield team, I still didn't decide which ISO8 I'm going to use on them, but something we have to think about in the future. Maybe after the first few rotations of Blitz, we'll go back and have a debate on the best ISO8s for each of those characters. The last stream we did on Wednesday, it was very productive and I think people really liked it, and I really like to talk with you guys at the same time. So let's see if we can continue that on Saturday. Okay, so Fantastic Four, and it's already having in consideration She-Hulk. She-Hulk really improves this team, and especially with ISO8, this team becomes so much better. And before, I was not a fan of this team at all. But right now, with She-Hulk and with ISO8, this team is so much better that now I actually have fun using this team. In terms of positioning, I like to use She-Hulk here because whenever she has taunt, she has an ability that gives her taunt, and whenever the other characters, whether it is the Thing or the Invisible Woman, get splash damage, they will do a retaliation attack to the enemy, so we want them to surround She-Hulk. So yeah, that's the Fantastic Four for you. Then we have the Kree Technocrats. Nothing new about this team, but Ultimus with ISO8 is quite amazing, and before I really loved this team, but right now it's just, oh, this team is so good. ISO8 works perfectly on this team, and I hope you guys once again join tomorrow's live stream where I'm gonna display or showcase all these different teams with ISO8. Then we have the Kree Minions. It's the usual team, nothing new about them except I got some extra red stars on Ronan. Then the Defenders, my Defenders already have ISO8. We'll see if my choices were good or not. Then we have the Villain Mutants, also have ISO8. This team has different ISO8s. Suggestions if you are using them in Alliance Wars defense or if you are using them for Blitz. The Brotherhood, my Brotherhood also has ISO8, same positioning as before, they are even better now. And the Avengers, I changed them a little bit, they also have ISO8, and now I'm using Captain Marvel here instead of Quake, and I'm really happy with the results, but check out tomorrow for it, it's quite amazing. Inhumans, so Quake went from the Avengers back to Inhumans. I'm really enjoying this team. It's the vanilla team, of course, but with ISO8 it plays out a little bit different and becomes way more interesting. Young Avengers. I always felt that the Young Avengers didn't have enough damage and control, but with the OG Spider-Man applying defense down to multiple targets, that really helps this team in terms of damage. And with his stun, it also gives a little bit more control that this team takes a lot more benefit than when I'm using Captain Marvel here. Okay, so the Red Hydra, nothing new about this, it's the same as before. Then we have the Guardians. I was using End Sentry here. For a while I was using Hulk as well, but now because of ISO8, I think it's better just to use Gamora here for the extra critical chance that she gives to the allies. And while the team is not like 99% chance of winning, it's still better, but I still have to apply ISO8 to these guys because none of them have it yet. Supernatural, the same as before, no ISO8 yet, but I will be applying to them soon. Mercenaries, they already have ISO8 and they are quite amazing with it, so I really hope you guys check out and you'll be quite impressed with it. Same positioning, same characters. Now we have the X-Men Kanda, and yeah, trash name, I know, but we are using some X-Men characters plus Kingpin and plus M'Baku. Because of the ISO8 that applied on these characters, it's really important to have an extra assist. M'Baku taunts and gets the attention out of Storm and out of Beast, and that time alone is enough for these three X-Men to steamroll and do a nice amount of damage and do all kinds of ISO8 shenanigans, allow them to beat Blitz on 8.3. Then we have the OG, I guess, X-Men, and I had a free spot here. I could use Namor here or I could use Ant-Man. So he still applies slow like Storm, and he does assist, he moves some buffs and things like that. So it was a nice way to fill the spot. And because Phoenix and Cyclops do most of the work. So even that my Ant-Man is at 6 red stars, and usually that's a problem on Blitz, but because we're using such a powerful team, having him as a compromiser is not that big of a deal. So we have now we have the Hydra purple or Hydra green, depends if we have Viper coming soon or not. But yeah, we have the Baron Zemo with the leftovers. So we have Crossbones and Baron Zemo. Then we have AIM Security and we have AIM Researcher. This team is not only for Blitz but also for Alliance Wars, and the funny thing about this part is that about this team is that Baron Zemo applies dodges to both of these tanks, and you can imagine they are not going to die at all because of that. So even if it takes a while for this team to kill the enemies, it's not going to be a huge deal because you are not going to take any damage. And even if you take damage, you have AIM Researcher that is going to heal 3 targets at the same time. Crossbones can also self-heal, and AIM Security can also self-heal. And on top of all that, we have Namor here for some extra damage, not only for Blitz but also for Alliance Wars. This team works quite nice, and yeah, even that is like trash characters and leftover characters, it works quite well, and especially because Baron Zemo is usually a beast. So moving on, we have the Sinister Scientists. And this might be a controversial team, why I'm using Dr. Octopus here, but this team is quite amazing. So we have Scientist Supreme giving negative effects to the enemies and also to Dr. Octopus and to Swarm. But whenever Swarm has his turn, he is flipping all those negative effects into positive, so that's a huge benefit. And usually the AIM team was very slow and doesn't have a reliable way of winning against multiple teams, but like this team alone can beat very easily the Asgardians. And Graviton really likes to play along with Swarm, and we have also AIM Assaulter here. Even that he's a minion, is a very high value minion. He's a very high value minion, so it's not a bad investment in case you invest in him. And this team works perfectly. I really hope you guys check out the live stream to see this team in action. It's quite amazing. Then we have She and the Boys. So it's the Sinister Six with Lady Electro, and we are using also Green Goblin because he went away from the Symbiote team. Then we have Shocker to apply offense up to all of them. Rhino, as always, is removing debuffs from the allies adjacent to him and also providing some tanking. And this team is quite good, especially with Isolate. I already have Isolate in a few of the characters, and it works quite well. And then I think this is the last team, right? Yeah, this is the last team, and it's the Trashtron once again. Ultron giving some life to useless characters, and because I have so high red stars on these guys, I always try to use them with Ultron, and I remove the Drax from the symbiotes and place him here with the Ultron. So it gives Ultron some time to breathe, so you can summon the minions and activate the minions and get rid of one target. And then even if Drax dies is not a huge problem. And because Mysterio and Nebula are villain tech, they will get all those buffs from Ultron, and the buffs will also get extended. And Yondu removes buffs. Mysterio can also apply blind, heal block, he also can remove buffs, and if he dies, because there are so many minions on the field, there is a high chance that you will have enough time to revive him. Even that I'm not sure if he can be revived without the Sinister Six in the same team. So that's going to be the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. My favorite 25 Blitz teams without investing on any trashy characters, having in mind all the characters that we have for this new patch of October, but also having in mind ISO 8 that was just released. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. Smash that like button like a boss. This list is going to be available on my Discord for members of my channel, in case you don't want to stop the video to copy the teams. And if you enjoy these teams, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you are new to my channel, I hope you consider subscribing for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I will catch you guys later.